Do you know why they were taking that? Is this like a normal...
It's a normal cut through, yeah.
Normal cut through she's always taken?
I mean...
Let me tell you, that rotten son of a father of hers never said a word to me.
What clothes? Does she have like a jacket or does she have underwear? Underwear.
Recording.
Okay. So we talked to Mom last week, and some of the issues that we asked about, she said you might be able to shed some more light on. Mostly what I'm interested in is the relationship between MacKenzie and Dominic, and perhaps some of the things you might have seen or some of the things that Dominic confided in you about. Okay? We're not going to ask about anything else. It's, at this point, not pertinent to what we're doing.
Okay.
So my first question to you is, how long have you known MacKenzie?
She would have had to have been... I forget if she was in 8th or 9th grade when she met Dom. I think, I would say since she was in 9th grade.
Okay.
Like early 9th grade, I think that they did initially meet when she was in 8th grade. And then, but like, I think they just met as like, you know, friends or whatever. But the first time I was introduced to her as like, oh, whatever, you know, this is like my girlfriend or whatever. It was, you know, like high school.
Gotcha. What was your relationship like with her? Did you talk to her?
In the earlier years of the relationship, we were like much more close. She would like come to me with a lot of stuff, like kind of talk to me like a big brother, you know? And there's many times like they were having issues even years ago where Dom would want to break up with her or something, and it wouldn't be like that simple. It'd be like, you know, like from time to time again, it almost like she had like issues, you know, like self-esteem issues, like she'd get crazy about stuff, like accuse him of cheating and stuff when he's not, you know what I mean, stuff like that. And just then for a while, you know, I would talk to her, and you know what I mean, then it would be like not constant, but there'd be like every like week, like couple weeks at one point, or like week or so, where they were almost breaking up, and then she'd be threatening to hurt herself. And this is back when she's in probably 10th grade, like she's still a sophomore. Dom's like a junior or senior or whatever, you know. And like, yeah, stuff would arise, and it would like never really take like a healthy course, to be honest with you.
Okay.
And over time, my relationship with her really subsided. I stopped talking to her. I stopped like really trying to be there for her, because ultimately I just seen that she was very, very selfish. You know what I mean? Like, for me, you know, like there's two types of love that you give somebody, and it's like I love that person unconditionally, and I want to see them prosper and be happy no matter what that entails for me. And there's a type of love that's selfish and restricted, and I want them all to myself. And that was Kenzie with Dom. It was the latter, not the first step. There was times where even in later years where, you know, Dom's old enough to like, you know, like he wasn't of drinking age, but he can go to bars and hang out and stuff, even though he couldn't like drink and stuff. And there'd be times, you know, that one of my friends, because I'm 23, would be having a birthday party, and she would like forbid him from going, and it'd be all just my buddies, you know, because she'd be like, oh, there's probably going to be girls there. Well, if it's a bar, there's probably going to be girls there, yes, and there's probably going to be men there. It's going to be it's a public place, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she got weird over him going to public places, would like a lot of stuff.
Okay.
But all of that stuff like led me from distancing myself from her, because it just became a thing where I couldn't help her in my eyes, because she was always stuck on like a selfish path, like wouldn't like listen to me or take my advice, you know. And even even in like the aspect of like it's better to have loved and lost and never have like loved at all, you know.
Mm-hmm.
She never got that. It's always like no, blah 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 blah, like I'll never let him go kind of thing.
Gotcha. So let's go back to the crazy part. You mentioned that anytime Dom would kind of want to break up with her, she kind of would go crazy. Describe crazy. Like what kind of crazy?
Like there is times where she called Dom and said, "If you break up with me, I'm going to myself." Word for word. And then Dom, he was a very, very selfless person, and he did, like, obviously, like, they were together for a long time, and they built like a relationship, and they cared for each other deeply. Do you see what I'm saying? And even though Dom did care for her deeply, I'm not disputing any of that, but he's seen all the toxicness that she was putting onto him, and every single time he would try to distance himself, like, from that and say, "Hey, we could be friends, this and that, blah, 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 I'll still be here for you," like, you know, but, like, I want to break up or whatever. She would say stuff like that.
So how do you know that? And if you don't mind me asking. So she told you, or
she's told me, he's told me, they both told me.
Okay.
Like, this is her not recently, because, like I said, like, we haven't been, you know, close in like a long time. But, I mean, I got a new phone since, so I don't have like text the records on here. But if you went through the service provider or whatever, you can even find text records a couple of years ago of just like me having long paragraph texts with her telling her like this and that and trying to like be accommodating and nice to her about stuff, and her just not listening to a word I'm saying. And I mean, it's a while ago.
On that note, before we go, have you had the same number even though you got a new phone? Has you've saved that number? What is your phone number?
440.
Okay.
So when was the last time she kind of expressed that to you about wanting to if Dom left her?
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Like I had her on Snapchat, blocked her on Snapchat. For a while, I had her phone number blocked because even I'd be with Dom and she would nonstop blow up my phone trying to say like, "Where is he?" Blah blah blah. Like he'd miss one of her calls. He'd be driving or something, and he'd miss like one of her calls, and I'd have to call her on my phone and be like, "Hey, relax. We're going to get some food," and it'd be like a whole. Even that would be like a thing. You know what I mean?
Where was she living at the last, 6 months or so?
Pretty much. Pretty much I've seen her at Dom's house like every night almost, you know? Even like at times when like me and him, because Dom like making music and stuff, so every times like me, him, and his buddy Blair, we all like sing together and stuff like that. We'd be in this room with the mic and all that making music, and she's just sleeping on the couch by herself. Like it's like, I don't know if that's like, I never really asked Dom like is she living here or anything, but she's definitely at his house way more than her own, even at night times and stuff like that.
Do you know if she has any property at the house? Clothes, makeup, stuff like that?
Oh, yes, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still all there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I went through that.
Anything. I haven't been able to.
Yeah.
I did at one point want to gather her stuff up and I just couldn't do. I haven't been in there since I got as close for the funeral. I just mentally and emotionally can't do it. So
Has anyone else had access to the house?
Just me.
Just you two.
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't been there in like a month either, honestly. It's
Okay.
been hard for me, honestly, too.
Yeah.
But
Has her attorney reached out to you about the... Because they have reached out to me, and I said, we're not getting involved in this.
Oh, to try to go over there?
Yeah, because they wanted her driver's license, and we said, first, her dad reached out to us a couple of times, and I said, at best, you can come request an escort. We'll call Miss Russo. If she says yes, we could arrange it. If she says no, we're done. And then last time when he was kind of getting under my skin, I said, no, we're not getting involved in this. And so he had his lawyer call me. And it was the old lawyer from Columbus. And I told him the exact same thing. I said, this is not a criminal matter. We're not getting in the middle of this civil stuff. Right now, emotions are high. The Russos are grieving. This is not the right time to get her driver's license. Yeah, I mean, it's just, so I know her DL is still in Dom's house.
But why wouldn't anybody even say anything to me? And let me tell you, that rotten son of a bitch father of hers never said a frickin' word to me. I bumped into them at the cemetery. Of course, my place I have to bump into him. And that bastard never even said, hello, how are you? I'm sorry. Nothing. Nothing. Radio silence. Not a word.
If it came to it, would you have a problem with us coming over and just taking some pictures of her things in there?
Or if you want to take fresh
you
pictures,
take them,
just get them
if
to
you,
us.
or if you're okay to go in there
To
I
show
know
her
I'm-
living there.
Yeah, we really want to show
Makeup, what clothes does she have? Like a jacket, or does she have, underwear and stuff where it establishes
toothbrush,
residence?
makeup, right?
She had clothes at my house, which, remember, I always maintained the room for Dom. His
Right.
own room, it's still there. But she had clothes at my house. I would be washing clothes, and I was washing her clothes. I can say that. And that was before he even moved next door, which we kind of just considered it all our big house because he just could not sleep in the same house with Christopher. They just had a conflict and just stressed him out too much. So
Well, and it's kind of nice that it was right next door and he could just stay there and
and come over for breakfast and dinner and the whole bit. And,
We just want to establish that residence piece. We
Oh,
want to
yeah, well, I
we want
know
to show that
it's
proceeding to
multiple
crash.
places, so So there's, I remember seeing shoes in the living room. I know there was purses in the back room because when we were looking for his clothes and shoes, that's when I brought it up. And then I was ready to just take it and throw the stuff out. I said, well, I don't know where this came from. I don't know who gave it to her. And I just put everything back. So I have touched the stuff,
Yes,
but
okay.
I left it where I found it.
I got it.
And then, so at least in 2 rooms for sure.
Yeah, if you can maybe either take a recording of it or take pictures of it, we just want to be able to establish, hey, because
living
her
as an
dad
adult.
slip of a tongue, and he's like, oh, she's been living with the Russo, and then mom right away kind of jumped in, was like, no,
Something-
she just visited him.
No.
Something else too is I know this isn't obviously that you're gonna protect your own daughter in this instance, but I had a buddy who went and seen Kenzie in the hospital actually, and was like, how's it going, blah blah blah, and then as soon as something did come up about the crash, her mom shut it down and said oh, we can't speak of any of that because of legality matters. There was a point in time where I was texting her mom directly about her daughter's problems, about Kenzie's problems, saying this and that. I remember at the time her parents were trying to give her antidepressants, okay? And she was already getting antidepressants since I believe middle school. All right? And teenage girls, they have a lot of drama going on. And to me, to be honest, her drama didn't seem any more than a normal teenage girl that just might be a little high strung. Do you see what I'm saying? So, she was on, I think it was one of the two, I forget, for over a year. And, well, she hasn't taken them in forever either. But, this is back in, I think, 8th grade or something, 9th grade that she quit. And then I started talking to Kenzie about it, and Kenzie was telling me that the pills, made her feel worse. And I started talking to her mom about that, and her mom just kind of had this attitude, don't tell me how to raise my daughter. And I'm like, well, I'm actually, not that it's much, but I'm a psychology minor. So it's I know a little bit about this stuff, and she doesn't have any, you know what I mean? She doesn't seem like she had any issues, you know what I mean?
So,
I don't know, I feel maybe, obviously being exposed to antidepressants, but you don't really need them, might have
from
messed her up in some way. I don't know.
do you know from what was your relationship like with Dominic? Were you guys close? Did he confide in you? Okay.
Yeah.
So would you say it's fair that Dominic perhaps shared some, I don't say secrets, some brotherly information with you about her? Hey man, geez, I can't put up with this, or I'm worried about my safety. She's a crazy driver. I don't want to get in the car with her. Anything of that sort?
There was multiple times, even in the month of July, that he was trying to break up with her.
Really?
Yeah, literally just even last month.
It'd be July.
2 months ago. Well, the month before he died, you know what I mean? That's what,
yeah,
that's
prior
what I
to
meant.
the
Yeah.
crash. Yeah, we got you.
Can you tell me more about that? Whatever you know.
There was, I know that you've probably already spoken about this, but there was an instance literally the week or a couple days before the crash that she was hitting him on the highway while driving on the highway, and he had to pull his car over on the side of the highway, not in a very safe parking spot either, and have somebody else come pick them up and drive the car home because he was scared that she was going to make him crash. And that was just prior to the day before the actual crash, where she was driving.
That's
So
different
That's
than
different
my
than
highway
the one.
on the
Okay.
highway.
So that's a different highway one where
Because under
Dominic
that one, she
was-
was driving, right?
Right.
So under this one, he was driving.
Yes, the highway thing before the crash, he was driving, she was hitting him.
Okay.
He's driving, she's hitting him. He has to pull over on the side of the highway to avoid any possible.
And how do you know about
whatever.
this? What's your source of information?
I was already on vacation, right? I'm pretty sure. I was out of town, or else he probably would have just called me.
Okay.
But I was in Florida. Okay. So he called up a family friend, and his name's Chris.
Okay.
And
Frenchman?
yeah.
They already know. Okay. Yeah, because my text is to her.
Well, I'm not
I
going
wrote
to sit here and
Hench.
call him Hench.
Well, they already know he's
we
called Hench.
well, it's in the text.
Yeah.
They refer to
Okay,
him
well then
as Hench.
he called Hench and said, "Hey, you come pick me up," and Hench came and picked him up, and then I heard about it. I don't know if he even really. I was still in Florida when he passed.
Okay, and so
he
these
didn't
are two
he didn't
different
talk to me
incidents,
about it,
right?
But I talked to Hench about it. I talked to her about it, and that's one thing I didn't hear from him. But I wasn't in town.
Okay,
Yeah.
but you heard it from Hench that.
And he's alive and it gives personal knowledge of that. So he's picked him up twice. I didn't know about that one when we interviewed.
Right. We just knew about
Yeah.
Okay, so two. All right.
Probably
And
have to talk to
Hench
Hench.
picked him up from both of
And-
those.
yes.
Wait,
Yeah,
Hench
we got
picked him
it.
up twice?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
remember the time that when I was gonna it was that Sunday when it was raining, you were in town. I was in the garage, had that testing the next day, and she was threatening to crash the car and kill them on the highway, and I had to have Hench go get him then in the pouring down rain in my car.
Is it the same situation? Am I just like mixing it up?
No, because she was driving, and this time Dom was driving.
Yeah, one time she was behind the wheel, and then the other time Dom was behind the wheel. We knew a lot about the one when she was behind the wheel.
Right.
I don't think there's a whole lot that I've found yet
Yeah,
in
I'm
her
pretty sure.
phone that talks
Listen,
about that one.
I heard it from someone else, so it has me questioning if I have my story mixed up. But no, I'm pretty sure I was told that he was driving.
Okay.
And he was.
That's okay. We'll clear it up with Hench.
Yeah, we can double check
Okay.
with Hench. See how
He'll
I don't want to.
talk
I don't want to give
Yeah,
misinformation.
no, that's fine. That's not a problem. So let's go back to the whole breakup scenario. So we've established that Dominic, and from your firsthand knowledge, MacKenzie would threaten to hurt and Dominic should he broken up with her.
Yes.
And now we know, Dominic mentioned it to you that he plans on breaking up with her. Did he tell you?
I might even be able to look at some text right now about it. I don't really know if he told me, if it was on a phone call.
But it's firsthand.
he
Is what I'm
expressed it
trying
to me
to
multiple times.
understand. It's he told you directly, like, Angelo, can't do this shit.
Honestly, like, it's heartbreaking to me because, like, the day before I went to Florida, which is the last time I seen him face to face, he was really just talking to me about, how he can't keep letting Kenzie, like, run his life, but not even an aspect like that. Like, he said, like, all right, for example, how I was saying how he can't go out with even me occasionally because she's upset about it and this and that. He said that she holds him back. And we were just talking about, like, traveling. Like, I was saying, like, hey, let's go on some vacations together, this and that. He was talking to me, like, just me and him, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Let's go see some stuff and go, like, live it up. And, I don't know. He was just telling me about how he wants to travel the world, too, which has always been one of my dreams, to travel, like, the world, And, like, I think he was really, honestly, finally getting to the point to where, like, if she was, like, saying, oh, I'm going to hurt you, he would have, like, maybe even taken that chance. Because it's been going on for, like, 2 years. It was really going on for, like, 2 years. Like, they'd be good for, like, a month or two, like, sometimes they'd have 2-3 fights in a week.
Have you ever seen them going at it, fighting?
Yes.
Maybe in the house? Can you describe what was it like?
She, honestly, like, he'll be, like, dude, he would be so nice and as accommodating as possible to stop the fight. And she'd be one of those people that is just petty, 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 petty. You know what I mean? Just to the fullest extent. He'd be like, "What's upsetting you? I'll fix it." And then she would just have some like slob comment. I can't even quote her, word for word. But he's just like, I remember times him like expressing to me how frustrated that he was, saying, "I do every single thing I can for this girl. I ask her, what's upsetting you, make it better, this and that, blah, blah, blah." And she finds, like, any single thing just be mad at me about. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's like, I witnessed it a lot, too. Like,
This is a crime circus presentation.
I don't know.
Did
Even the stuff with
Did you ever see her hit him? Put her hands on him?
her hit him.
Like, just go, or throw stuff at him, or...
No.
Actually, now that you say that, I remember several times now, because my memory's getting jogged, that he would say, "Mom, can you get Kenzie out of here? She's
refusing to leave and stuff.
refusing to leave. She's out of control. She's hit me." I do remember that. And
I never
and then I
witnessed
would
it.
get on the phone and say, "Just leave and go home."
There's multiple times, even pretty like recently before all this, that Dom would have to call Kenzie's parents, call her mom and stuff, and say, "Hey, you need to come get Kenzie out of here. Like, she's refusing to leave my house. She's being crazy." And it'd be a situation where they'd be in a fight. Like, keep in mind something stupid that she started, and he's like, "Listen," he's like, "just go home." He's like, "We'll hang out tomorrow. It'll be like a whole like new thing."
Mm-hmm.
He'd finally like get her out. She'd be the type to show back up at his house, pounding on his window. "No, I'm coming in, blah, blah, blah. We're talking this shit out right now." You know what I mean? It's like, dude, there's times where that happened and we were in the house hanging out with him. He's like, "Okay, you guys just gotta go home." You know what I mean? I gotta talk to her. And it's like, I don't know, just really everything behind it. The number one word for it is like selfish and self-centered. You know what I mean? Like, doesn't really know how to like go through arguments properly, doesn't know how to do stuff like healthily, wants to.
Would you attribute any of that to her age? What was there, 2 years between her and Dom?
Yeah.
About 2 years.
But
because early on, you knew her when she was pretty young, 9th, 10th grade-ish. But let's talk about maybe the last year. Did
her
like
personality get worse, or has it always been steady?
Immaturity thing?
So earlier
or was
years,
it more of just an unstable thing?
Earlier years, I just had more of a relationship with her as her big brother, so I just knew more of what was going on with her, like directly from her.
Yeah.
Okay? But her behavior never really got better. To me, it almost just got more drastic.
Okay.
Like before, when she was younger, 9th, 10th grade, she would go home when they were fighting, whatever, and then be texting him saying, "Oh, I'll blah, 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 blah." And then he's like, "Okay, please don't. We can work this out, whatever, But then it came to where she's 16 now, she's driving, she's 17, she's even older, She's driving back over, she's banging on windows. Like, her behavior became more erratic. Maybe also because she had more ways to let it out and to show that, you know what I mean, to come over or whatever. But, no, at first there'd be like, when
She lives close to you guys too. She's just on the street there.
So, Angelo, have you ever been a passenger while she was driving?
Oh my gosh, no, never once.
Okay. Do you know anything about her driving? Anybody ever describe her driving to you?
I mean, she's told me, I've heard her say that she thinks she's a great driver. I forget who told me. I don't think it was Don. It might have been his buddy Blair told me that she's a terrible driver. No, never really like. I'd have to bring it up. I didn't really internalize it if I did have a convo about her driving. All I know is I never really wanted to get in a car with her, just because, like, not like saying like, "Oh, she's crazy and she'll crash the car on purpose" or something. Like, obviously I wasn't thinking that at the time, but just her high-strung anxiety. Like, she's just like a really high-strung person. I don't know if that's the kind of person I want to be in the car with. You know what I mean? She kind of like has moments where she like obviously like loses her composure.
Blair said, and I just repeat the way he says, is that bitch drives crazy. She would be speeding. And and he said
I would hear about her speeding and driving crazy too, actually.
Him and Dom would bitch at her about the speeding.
Who did you say went to West Virginia with them?
Oh, it was Florida, the mother.
Oh, Florida. That was her mom, but didn't your ex and somebody go down and meet them down?
Me.
You met them down. Did she fly to Florida? Her and Dom fly to Florida? They drove?
They drove together.
They drove in tandem with, so it's her and Dom and then her mom and, okay. But you guys flew down and met them down there?
No, we also drove.
Oh, you did drive? Okay.
Yeah, me and my dad, we already had I guess they already had some trip planned where they were going to Orlando. And my dad wanted to, we never took like a vacation, just me and him. So he's like, "Hey, let's get in my car. We'll go hit Destin, go see your Aunt Sherry." And then Clearwater was right in between, like Fort Myers and Orlando. So then we met in Clearwater for a day, like me and my dad, Dom, Kenzie, his mom, her mom, and her sister.
Okay.
What was she like down there?
The
reason, if you remember.
Oh, go ahead. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to think. I remember it was like a huge project. We barely even got to hang out. because we got down there. Clearwater, it's busy, right? So Kenzie's driving, right? Kenzie refused to let Dom drive, and so she's driving the car, and so we're going this way. There's a big like roundabout on the main road of Clearwater, and it goes in both directions. And most of the shops are all like this way. So going down the roundabout, we kept saying turn right, right? She went around the roundabout twice, like, and ended up going, like, had to turn back around, come back and missed it again, and before she finally went the right way. We're turning around, saying, just stay where you're at, we'll just come to you. We're driving back, they don't listen, keep driving this way, now they're over here, now we gotta come back. It took us 45 minutes just to even figure out where they were going. Then we didn't even get parked together, okay? Because then just after all this driving around and all this trying to figure out, like how to pull up next to each other. Finally, Kenzie just decides that she's starving and needs something to eat. And Dom says, well, now I have to take Kenzie to get some food. And hold on.
So when you and Dad drove down, you did not caravan with them. You were on your own timeline, essentially.
Yeah, we were just meeting at the beach,
Okay.
And we all met up at one spot before going to the beach. And we just decided they decided more like it'd be easier to just drive separate.
Did Dom tell you anything about her driving down there? We heard an incident that happened on the way to Florida. Did he mention anything to you about that? Involving her driving?
Incident on the way to Florida?
Something about her driving.
Say something about it. You might like jog my memory. I'm not really sure.
Just, the unsafe driving to where, speeds and, kind of closing up on people to where he might have not felt safe to actually come back. Anything about that?
I think I remember him saying something to me about how he drove mostly.
Okay.
And because it was more comfortable, but I don't think he went into detail about it. About did something to you about it or something? No. Has anybody, or is that just like?
No, again, one of the things is we got a lot of the kids telling us things, and we were just trying to sort what.
I think he told me he drove mostly.
He drove
the whole
most
way.
of it. Okay.
So obviously though, in that obviously you'd split up driving unless you just feel more comfortable driving. So that kind of already let me know. I mean, I don't know. I was nervous to begin with, and so was my dad. Even before they left, saying Dom and Kenzie driving, just them, because Kenzie's, we've already said enough about her driving, and then Dom, it's not like he's the greatest driver either. He's a decent driver, but he's got all this hair in his face and stuff, and brushing his hair, trying to see and shit. It's I was nervous about either of them driving all that distance, to be honest, but not in terms of Dom being crazy or anything. Just
right.
So being lackadaisical.
I got
how
you.
he is sometimes.
So the just to be kind of very clear cut with this. Recently, I'd say maybe 2022, did Dom say anything to you about being concerned for his safety? Not maybe something malicious, but something like, hey, you know what, this girl's gonna get herself or get somebody killed or get some innocent driver or pedestrian, somebody killed because of her driving. Anything that maybe, any conversations like that between just, two brothers, chopping it up?
She'd make threats. He'd definitely say that she's the kind of person to follow through with those threats.
He believed she would follow through?
Yeah, not I mean, obviously everybody makes false threats and empty threats and stuff like that. But some of the stuff he would or she would say, I do remember him telling me, yeah, Kenzie's crazy. She would actually probably do that shit.
So, since the crash and the passing of Dominic, has she been in contact with you? Has she reached out to you?
She texted me multiple times. I could read you the text word for word. She never once said, I'm sorry for your loss. She never once said, I'm so sorry for what happened. She never once took any responsibility. Not even having to take any responsibility. Just saying, I'm sorry Dom's gone. Anything. But she asked me for forgiveness about 10 times. saying,
Really?
I hope that you forgive me. I still want to be a part of your family. Listen, I'll just show you the text and make it easy. I would rather you see the text because these disgusting.
Well, he's looking for that, so I don't forget. I don't even know if this is even relevant.
I didn't even open the last ones. I'm opening them now for you guys. But these literally disgusted me.
We went canoeing last year. I took off work. I went to court, and we were all four. Me and Dom and Kenzie were going to go canoeing. So I packed snacks for the canoe and cooler and all that. So we had a bag that had like chips and that sort of thing that was supper. You didn't put in the bags because so they crushed. Well, we forgot. She ruined the entire canoe trip. She sat there and threw a fit and had forgotten those chips, that she had nothing to eat.
Tantrums.
And I kept saying, we're enjoying our day. There's no fighting. We will find something for you to eat. You know, we even stopped at the one bar.
I remember that.
Remember
She
that?
was not satisfied with anything.
No, nothing. It didn't matter
Yeah.
what I had. It was not, she did not have those chips, okay? So we ended up stopping at one of the places that was like a bar or restaurant or whatever and finally fed her or whatever. But the whole, and Dom was just stressed out this whole time just because she was so pissed about those chips. And the thing, she was very
Just some chips.
crafty on how she would do stuff because she would stick her dig. Me and Andrew in a canoe, they're there. She would stick her digs and her comments so that we couldn't hear. And all I would ever say, I always try to be neutral because I'm always thinking, well, these kids are going to break up, but they're going to get back together, and then I'm going to say something that's going to damage the whole thing. And I would just say, there's no fighting. We're having a great day. We're canoeing. We'll get through it. We'll find you something to eat. Don't worry. You know what I mean? And it was just a big tantrum. Everything was a tantrum. You forgot chips. Okay, I get it. Do you know what I mean? But that is not enough to be
Right.
a tantrum to ruin the day.
Okay.
So Dom was 20, right? He couldn't even come next door to eat his mom's dinner half the time because Kenzie would cry about how her food would have to be like gluten-free, everything, like all that, you know? And as a 20-year-old kid, and he's like the man, you know, he's cooking for her every single night. And then also like, even just in terms of like relationship, not even to do with anything else, I witnessed so many times her, like, him saying to her, like, I cook for you every night. Can you at least just like clean some stuff or like, do the dishes? And then she'd be like, make it like a thing. Like, this is like one of the things where I'm saying that she's petty. But she'd be like, oh, I'll do the dishes after you start being nice to me again. And then he's like, how am I being mean to you or something? It'd be like, it wouldn't even make any sense. It'd just be like, okay, like, I'm going home. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just it's one of these days. Go home, you know.
Can we see those texts when she did not express
First,
remorse or apology or anything?
First, I wanted you to kind of note how long it was since we talked before this. She texted me on August 6th, okay? Before that, the last time she texted me was May 7th.
Okay, let me write this down. So May 7th.
Was the last time she texted me, and it was just to say Dom's phone died. The last time she texted me before that was she was asking me if I could do homework for her because she was too lazy to do her math work.
Wow.
And, so, I mean, honestly, like,
So May 7th, and then when was the next time after May 7th? What was the date?
August 6th, after the crash.
I think that was the day she got her phone back.
And you could read it. This is what she said, word for word.
August.
You want to read it out loud so we can hear it?
No,
Hey,
it's okay.
I'll read it for here. It says, "Hey Angelo, that's August 6th, 4:14 p.m. Hey Angelo, I don't know if you hate me, but tomorrow for the funeral, would you be able to go in Dom's room and grab some photos from his desk for me and him so I could put them into the casket so he can be with me forever?"
Doesn't say sorry, doesn't say nothing, doesn't say anything. It says, hey Angelo, I don't know if you hate me, but can you go grab pictures of us and put them in his casket so I could be with him forever? How, like, honestly, how psychotic does that sound? That sounds fucking twisted. She texted me again after that, and all just to say, please let me know. And she texted me again,
This is a Crime Circus presentation.
August 23rd. Actually, she did say sorry one time. First time that she ever said this. She said, here, you can read it if you want.
It says, "Hi Angelo, I just wanted to say I'm so sorry. I know you probably think this is all my fault, and I'm not asking you to feel bad for me, but I just wanted to say I'm so sorry, and I know you miss him so much. I wish he was here too. This should have never happened. He loves you so much, and I know.
Yeah, I know.
You know that. I don't even know what to say to you or just feel so bad. I hope you guys can forgive me because I'll always look at you guys as family. You don't even need to respond to me. Just wanted you to know I'm so sorry." Okay.
But see, even these texts that she sent me, even in this one, okay, it maybe would have been something if it's like, hey, if it was just I'm so sorry, you know. But then she has to go just one line. It's one sentence of I'm so sorry, and then it goes, I know you probably think this is all my fault, and I'm asking you to feel bad for me. Why would I feel bad for you in this situation? How would it take you one sentence of saying sorry and then just to go to that, and then you're gonna say,
I know that since we gave her
it's
phone
like,
back
and she
to
says,
her,
I hope you guys can forgive me. In the first text where you finally apologize, right? So I'm finally saying, I'm sorry I killed your brother. I hope that you forgive me. How's forgiveness and me feeling bad for you even on your mindset?
okay.
Like, how is it even on there? It should literally be like, I'm so sorry. Like, I about the pain. Like, it should all be about who you're texting.
She's worried about what you think of her, so she's using the I'm
It's
sorry
everything.
as a buffer.
Like the whole entire consistency of her is just she's just self-absorbed and self-centered. Everything that she texts me, even if she's finally saying I'm sorry, it's about her. It's not even about me.
So, I know since we gave her the phone, she's been back active on social media and all that. Any of your friends screenshot you anything? Have you, you know, we've received some photos of her in the wheelchair out and about.
I could definitely get some screenshots. I'm not on social media much at all.
Okay.
But the first thing I did hear of at the time, we didn't even know if this was her mom or her or what, because we didn't even know if she was even awake to use a phone. We didn't know what her injury was or anything, you know. And the first thing I seen from her, she didn't text my mom, she didn't text me, she didn't text my dad, she didn't text anybody in my family. The first thing I seen from her contacting anybody was she texted a modeling agency that reached out to her and said something. And she went on Instagram. But that was before even, like, you're going to go and reach out to a modeling agency on Instagram, let them want to use your picture before texting.
Several people have made us aware of that.
Many people in between that should have gotten that text beforehand. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then, like, her mom, her dad have still never even texted me once. I already previous to this had somewhat of a relationship with her mom, talking about her daughter's issues or whatever, and what I think or whatever, and you know, and it wasn't like we never talked before. You know what I mean? I'd come say hi to her in the driveway. You know what I mean? When she was dropping off, and before she was driving, that was a while ago, but
she definitely has your number. She could have
she's
reached out.
never said not even a word, not a peep, neither from her dad or nothing. You know what I mean?
Do you?
I was just gonna say that, just a thought that she always is concerned about who hates her. So again, like, I have to see her at the cemetery all the time. Now she's been sort of telling me when she's going, so I've been able to kind of avoid it. But I'm still talking to her. Told you I would.
Right.
Well, plus she dangles all the pictures of Dom and videos and claims she just found this. Let me send this to you. And I know, come on. That's her way of just here to keep talking. But anyway, the one kid came over and introduced himself, said he never knew Dom, but he was good friends with Davion. They had met at Grace Church, and blah, blah, started talking. And, you know, so I saw Dom's mom, and Kenzie was there, and there was another lady there, daughter, and I think the dad was there again. And she said, well, just thank you so much for not hating me. And then every time, I'm just so scared to be here. Everybody in Strongsville hates me. I don't know what to do. And I said, I'm sure that people don't hate you. You know what I mean? But she went to that concert in the wheelchair, that Cub Kitty or whatever his name is.
Kid Cudi.
And she was there with her girlfriends and the girlfriend's mom too. And they had her in the front row. And then she was getting piled on, I guess, because they get all, and I'm hearing this all from her, okay?
You should not be in a wheelchair and be at a concert.
They were all piling in. I guess they do this dancing and they squish up and everything. So, you know, the monitors had to move her to the wheelchair to a different section and all of that. But, yeah. So, and I forget the girl's
So
name.
which concert was that? Because there's two that she's been to.
Listen,
Oh, there's
listen,
two.
just
I
for
This
the
is
record.
Nautica.
This is the one at the Nautica Pavilion.
Listen, here's the thing too.
We got pictures
like
from
Kid Cudi.
somebody from Strongsville who was there. Texted us.
And here's the thing though too is like Kid Cudi. Like I love Kid Cudi. Like when I was like, you know, like younger and he's like all talking about Cleveland. Like Cleveland is the reason, all this stuff, blah blah blah, and really like kind of took like a different edge to like he was like a rapper, but rap he wouldn't be talking about violence or anything like that. He'd be talking about like, you know, like communities and like himself and like stuff like that, you know, and like a little bit about and stuff like that too. But and I love a Kid Cudi. I was so distraught. I heard about the concert in June, and I was so distraught. I completely forgot until the day of the concert. People are going to the Cudi concert, and I'm kind of thinking like, dang, I wish I would have like remembered that. But then also it's like I don't even care. You know what I mean? So it's like, to me, it's even like you have that much in you to like remember all these plans and like go do all this stuff. It's like, dude, it wasn't like, it's not like it's like your mom's like birthday. Like, yeah, you're not gonna like forget that, but it's like you remember to go to a Kid Cudi concert and get a ride in your wheelchair down here and like go through all that work to go see a concert. But I get like 2 texts from you ever, and you don't even like say something. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Just like where,
do me
like,
a favor.
where her mind's at just does not seem right to me at all. To be
I'm
honest,
gonna leave my card with you, but if anybody does send you texts, we told people send them to us because I'm putting them in my report, showing them to Tim, just to kind of establish that pattern that, you know, since, you know, I don't want to say she's moving on, but she doesn't seem to care enough.
Since this tragedy, she's just gone on living her life.
Out and about. And so just, you know, even if you're not into it, just maybe text it to mom, have mom get them to me via email so I can attach them to
screenshots, stuff
the...
like
Yeah,
that. She's doing
screenshots.
and everything.
Because I had those ones where she's begging me to go in the house. That's what's even creepier.
Right.
That they're going to call you guys about getting her stuff. She has not once said, she said to me, well, do you think Angelo's going to go in there and destroy my things? This is what she said. And I said, no, Angelo's not going to destroy anything. And I said, I can always get together what you have or something like that. She goes, but I want to go in there. And she goes, can't you sneak me in and not tell anybody? And I just want to spend the day there because November 14th is our anniversary. And I'm just like, I can't even walk in there.
Makes you think, what's in there that she wants?
So bad. Or why does she want, and how could you do
Did Dom
that?
keep cash in there?
We looked. That's one thing. He
Did-
had nothing.
Okay.
I know you were in Florida at the time of the tragedy here, but any idea why they were going down Progress to Alameda? Do you know in the past if they've used this as a shortcut to get somewhere?
Well, yeah, it tells me that they were coming, I forget if it's south or north or whatever, Pearl. Obviously, they were coming towards 82, down Pearl, and then that's just a little cut through. You go, you know, they end up on Westwood.
Right, but I know. Do you know why they were taking that? Is this like a normal?
It's a normal cut through, yeah.
Normal cut through
Just,
she's always taken.
I mean, the reason that I use it is just avoid all the Pearl lights, because you hit Pearl and you go light. You turn down Progress, you go right down Prospect. You have 2 lights, and then you're home. You know what I mean? Perfect. So that's the reason why I take it. I would assume it's the same reason.
Okay.
One thing I can tell you about that, or that I was curious about, like obviously just to wrap up a lot of what I was saying. You know what I mean? For one, like I heard that Dom was riding in the back seat. That's not true. So he was in the front seat.
Okay. Well, that was what we were told I told you that from the funeral director said that.
That's wrong. He was front seat passenger.
Front passenger. And Davion was in the back.
Okay.
Okay.
She said that another thing I can fill you guys in, and she said she went to a psychic 3 days ago. I have to look at my phone. And so I said, well, what did he say? Because I'm trying to get everything in writing. She goes, oh, no, you have to call me. Well, she said basically nothing. But what she did go on to say was that, the psychic made it very clear to her that the accident was caused because she swerved left.
That make okay.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm just telling you, this is the latest story. Okay.
That's her story. Yeah.
Good.
Yes.
Tell her to stick to that.
Yeah. I mean,
Tell her to stick to that.
Yeah. So that was the other thing. And you guys also need to be aware, which I
But listen, here's the thing I don't get. She said that the psychic told her to swerve left,
know that she swerved left.
and that's why it happened. Well, she swerved right off the road.
I'm just telling you. I don't know the details. I'm just repeating what I'm finding out. And now you made me forget what else I wanted to say besides
Oh, I'm
that.
sorry.
It's okay about the psychic. Oh, you guys should know that, so Dom's birthday was today, and he always went to dinner with his friends every year. That was a tradition. And there's times that there was family there, and sometimes it was just the friends. So I told my ex that you're welcome, but we're just gonna, he goes, what are we gonna do? And I said, we're gonna go to dinner with his friends, just like he would if you're welcome, but nobody else when I'm inviting. It's just what Dom would have done or whatever. So the dad got all pissed off. He threw a huge birthday party at his daughter's house, cake, the whole bit, put up boards, put up pictures, and invited the whole Shirilla family was there.
That was
Dom's dad.
Dom's dad did this.
Your ex did
Yes.
Yeah.
So I told you I don't, and again, he's the one who thinks that he's been told from,
voodoo, whatever.
He said that the pendulum told him to forgive Kenzie to the fullest and that it's not her fault or something. And that he said literally that day, I'm going to forgive her. And like, I haven't even been talking to him because he's just honestly such an idiot to be like, in my eyes, you know what I mean? Like, I don't even know what he could be thinking or whatever. But I mean, even for example, right? There was a situation where my cousin Antonio, right? He's 24, 25 years old, I forget. This is when I'm like 16. He's on the front of a boat, sitting on front of a boat, and the driver hits a buoy, okay, in the water, cuts his legs off, bleeds out, he dies. The driver's found his blood, besides from alcohol and like all this other stuff, like you're thinking that he's gonna get some time, My dad nonstop talked every day that this guy would come up about how much of a piece of shit he was and how much that he wants to see him burn in jail and all this stuff. Well, the guy got put on like a 5-year probation with like a 15-year suspended sentence if he messed it up, and he ended up like beating up and robbing some old guy or something. And I don't even know how you like end up doing that, but did that, and then goes back to court. And my Aunt Nicole, Antonio's mother, is this court case is in Florida. This is where like this happened at. So she's in, up in Ohio, and she's on the video cam crying as a whole like written testimony saying about how she wants him to get the maximum time, all this stuff, right? This court date finally just got wrapped up in the end of April. So just now in the end of April of this year, like however many like years later, because the case was so long, the guy got sentenced to like 10 years in prison, right? My dad's like, at least he got 10 years, by which he has his whole fucking life in there, blah, 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 blah. So that's somebody, pretty identical situation. Somebody who killed somebody's son and our family in a crash while they were driving. Doesn't matter if they're high, sober, whatever. That's what happened. Everybody hates this dude's guts years later, and they want to see him burn in hell. But Kenzie does this. My dad talks to some freaking Ouija board, and he forgives her. I think it's pretty freaking screwed up, to be honest with you. And it's like,
there's a lot of things, and it could be grief. It could be maybe she's something to hold on to that was close. Who knows?
But he never even hung out with her.
He didn't. No, it's not even that. He's been texting me that I'm not going to be happy until I let go of the hate in my heart.
Uh-huh.
And I'm telling him it's not about having hate in your heart. Mm-hmm. Somebody killed your son. Someone killed my brother. It doesn't even seem like it was an accident. It seems like she took it upon herself to ram that car into that wall against both of their wills. You know what I mean? I know Dom.
Let me ask you before you go any further off that point. Everything you know aside, everything you've heard from people, everything you've heard here, you as a grown man, are you saying that's your feeling?
What do you think happened, basically?
Oh yeah, for sure. That's 100%. Since like, I mean,
hold on.
since,
what do you think happened?
That night.
I think that, I mean, off of what I know and off my assumptions, I think that they were in some kind of fight. Dom tried to break up with her multiple times, even in July. They kept not like working out, whatever. They kept making back up. The only thing I could really think of is they were obviously in some kind of argument. Mm-hmm. Kenzie's known to be the kind of person that she's let us know she will never let go of Dom. And if she has to let go of Dom, she will not go on living herself. She's pretty much let that be known. And the whole thing that I think of is you're going 94 miles an hour. You don't have a very fast car to begin with. You were stomping that gas pretty much that whole entire time. There's no brake marks on the street at all. Even before the hit, you would think that some type of instinct would kick, slam on the brakes. But to my knowledge, she went straight into it. To me, it seems like they might have been in a fight, maybe not even arguing. I think if it was like vicious arguing I think if it was vicious argument while she was driving, he would have tried harder to spin the wheel. Mm-hmm. So I can think of it maybe they were lightly arguing, and as she starts racing, he's trying to talk her down, saying like relax. She might know what she had in her head. Okay, I know that we're breaking up, blah, 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 this and that. I don't know what she could have possibly been thinking, but I can't go into details, obviously, because I have no idea. But whole idea, like main points, I think that they were in a fight. I think that she took it upon herself to purposely crash into that wall. I think that he must have been trying to talk her down the whole time. They swerved off to the right. I think he might have grabbed the wheel towards the end of it, maybe trying to spin him or something. Who knows? She could have been bear hugging it. I don't know. They're hitting bumps too. They're going 90. He could have not, I don't know what's going through his head, But I do know that Dom never once in his life ever expressed to me any form of I want it ever. He wanted to do so much stuff. He wanted to start up his own shampoo lines, his own conditioner line, sort of clothing lines. He wanted to get big in the music industry. He loved real estate. He was trying to get into buying houses. He had too many plans and too many goals for his life to plan anything like that. She's the only person who I've ever seen around him say, "I will kill you," and I will if this and this happens.
Okay.
When she's not with him, there's been situations even the week before. There was two situations where he had to get up on the highway because they couldn't drive together. You know what I mean?
What type of we don't care about, but what kind of do you know about her using?
I pretty much, honestly, just to my knowledge, just occasionally alcohol. But I think even recently, she's not been a big smoker at all because I'd be over at the house and even Dom was even barely smoking. In the month of July and stuff, he just was getting over it, kind of he didn't really have as bad of problems with his ankle anymore, And his problems, it wasn't muscle or bone problems. He had bad nerve problems.
Yeah.
Really bad nerve issues and stuff. And so he was pretty much getting over that. And I pretty much barely seen him smoking at all. And then Kenzie, I think she was getting fit or something. Some people have I forget what it's called, but you smoke weed and you throw up, or you want to throw up at least, it makes you sick or whatever. Mm-hmm. So to my knowledge, she was pretty much not smoking.
So any talk about anything like that?
I heard rumors after the crash about there being involved and all this shit.
You've never seen it though?
I don't believe that's the case.
What about medical? Did you ever see her pass out? Did ever mention, we're sitting here and all of a sudden she just passed out? Anything of that sort? Did you ever witness anything? How about you, Ms. Russo?
No, not at all.
No,
never heard, never seen any type of medical issue? Okay.
The only things that we knew, and Ange just repeated it, and he sort of described the same thing I knew last, was the issue that's some condition with the marijuana. But I thought thought that was a while ago. I thought she was over that, and then this gluten-free with her stomach.
Gotcha.
Food issues. Okay. Yeah.
The food issues. But no other. She tried telling me the other day that she had some other medical conditions, and I think that was just fluffing to try to. Why wouldn't it have ever been mentioned to me before?
Gotcha.
Now he's dead, and you're going to mention this at the cemetery. Do you know what I'm saying? So I don't know if they're trying to come up with some other things, but I don't know. The parents went out and bought her that car. They bought her that car before she had her license. You know what I'm saying? So if you have a kid that you're worried about some sort of condition of driving. That was even just with Christopher. I'm sure Christopher liked to drive, but I used to be nervous because of his mental health. So I've just never allowed him to get a driver's license.
Yeah.
Right?
Makes
sense.
That,
If she had those conditions, those parents, she is their, golden child. They treat the other sister like a piece of crap. She's the pretty one. She's the smart one. She's the, the other one's got problems. They just everything. It doesn't matter how outrageous. The only reason that they ended up going to Florida, because her mom wasn't going to go, and I even said, well, I didn't know the whole thing. I remember I was in and out of the hospital, so stuff was planned when I wasn't around, was they didn't think that they could check in because they weren't 21. So then the mother decided, well, I'll just go with you then before. Originally, she was just going to drive down there to check them in and leave.
Yeah, I heard that, and I was like, what?
They are out of control with her.
Oh, listen,
And she was a juvenile at that point.
I didn't get to finish what I was saying about her smoking and drinking. Her drinking though, like the only times I've ever seen her drink, it's not like she's drinking liquor or anything like that. She's type drink like a Smirnoff Ice, like one of those like sugary malt beverages. You know what I mean? Drink like 2 of them and be fine. You know what I mean? So not be fine would be like buzzed or whatever. Or like, but like she wasn't really like.
I mean, she's
Getting
tiny.
slammed.
Yeah,
you know.
not a drinker really, not really a smoker either. Honestly.
Is there anyone else you think we need to talk to besides Hench? Anybody you think would be, and again, like I told Mom, a lot of people are not talking to us, but
a lot of other people I could think of. It wouldn't be anybody that could like have new information for you
Gotcha.
that would say like, oh, this and this happened or whatever. But I know a lot of people that, I mean, obviously like my buddies would all probably, I mean, I've talked to a couple of them about it and they all think like my one buddy, he thinks that she did it on purpose too. And thinks that this and that.
We're trying to avoid a lot of like second, third, fourth hand knowledge. We're looking more for somebody who was close with Dom, who would have some kind of first hand knowledge.
Yeah, no, this buddy I'm talking about was close with Dom. They talked often. You know what I mean? But
listen, you got my card. Take a picture of it. Send it to some of your buddies. Encourage them to come talk to us. We can't completely want to talk. The few people who we think we need to talk to who are not going to talk to us are going to get subpoenaed to the grand jury. The prosecutor is going to make them come talk. But not to the police. They're going to talk directly to the prosecutor. But some of their friends are refusing to.
Some of Mackenzie's
friends, yes, are refusing to be forthcoming.
right.
And I did tell you about her hitting him in the car when he hit the mailbox and stuff like that. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was the other thing I was just thinking of? I did bring up the girl that she supposedly pushed down the steps, right?
Yes. We have. There's a Snapchat about that she recorded.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, wait. I remember hearing about the situation, obviously.
The big
when did the story turn into that?
Okay, so the big story was this girl fell down the steps, blah, blah, blah. How did she fall, and blah, blah. She had no alcohol in her system.
We had a guardrail and everything.
Yeah, and there's a handrail. And then as time went on, Kenzie was the one that told me, personally, she said that these girls were really out to get her because they are accusing her of pushing this gal down the steps. I said, well, why in the world would you ever push that girl? I wouldn't push that girl down the steps. Just didn't think of nothing at the time. But after the fact, I'm sitting there thinking, and I asked that Houston when he called me, I said, do you hear that she pushed this girl down the steps? Houston believes she pushed her down the steps. Again, I know he's a little crazy or whatever, but he was the one that said that too.
Houston thinks that Kenzie pushed her down the steps.
Pushed that girl down the steps. That's when she had that concussion and everything. She fully recovered, but it was a serious thing.
I know, it was fucked up.
Yeah.
So the mailbox
I wasn't
incident,
there, but yeah, Don told me all about it. It was like a horror story. He told me that.
Do you remember when, tentatively?
Yeah, it was,
This is a Crime Circus presentation.
Hey, do you know something too? Because obviously this doesn't have to do with anything to, I mean, it has to do with something kind of, but nothing really. But that situation too, with that girl, he told me that if he wasn't there, that was just like somebody else's house, she probably would have died. Like, he said that he ran downstairs and started like supporting her head because she was leaking from her face, so she wouldn't like drown in like her blood and stuff. He said that some of her friends started grabbing her, shaking her, smacking her, telling her to wake up, started like trying to drag her up the stairs. They started freaking out, like this and that. He said that most people just ran out the house, dipped, just fled the scene, you know what I'm saying? He said that fucking, like, right off rip, he's, like, calling an ambulance, supporting her, holding her up, you know what I mean? Like, he was, like, he told me his whole body was covered in blood because he was just helping around and shit. And then I made a full recovery. That's, thank God, because I was really worried. I remember hearing this, she might have brain damage and all this stuff. And in a situation like that, you know, after the initial injury, it really does matter a lot on how you care for the person.
Right.
After that, you're really sensitive. If your head's swollen or whatever, you're, oh, that's really tender, and
Right.
you know what I mean. But
I want to say March.
March of this year, 2022. Okay. Well, here's so I'm going to transcribe all these notes, and if I have follow-up questions, you mind if I reach back out to you?
oh, absolutely.
Like I said, just encourage whoever some of your friends are, whoever might have firsthand knowledge of MacKenzie threatening, or maybe Dom confiding in somebody about MacKenzie making threats or being something of that sort. You know, encourage them to reach out to us. Chris Hench, would he be willing to talk to? I just want to figure out the whole.
Yeah, I can bring him here because he
Okay.
right now doesn't have an operating vehicle. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
She also always says to me all the time that it should have been me. It should have been me
It's like,
that died in that crash.
I-
And I think that was kind of a weird. Like I said when my son died, I wish, why didn't I in the hospital? You could have taken me. I'm older, not him. That sort of thing. I wish it was me. That's not how she says. She says it should have been me, and I think that that's a weird way to characterize.
How well
it.
did you know Davion?
actually, I met Davion for the first time like a week before, maybe a couple days before I left for Florida, you know? And my knowledge to Davion is that, like, Dom, so, like, me and Dom, like, the last year or so, we just haven't been hanging out as much as we normally would. Honestly, mostly all to do with Kenzie. Like, he's always doing something for Kenzie, doing something with Kenzie. Can't hang out with me because of Kenzie, whatever, you know? And there was, like, a lot of times I'd call him. I'd be like, you know, like, what are you up to? Yada, yada, yada. And he's like, oh, I'm hanging out with Davion and Blair and Kenzie or whatever, you know? The first time I met Davion, he was working on Dom's Jag. I think he was just detaching a battery and putting like a new battery and stuff like that. And I walked up to him, said, "What's up?" There's I don't know if you ever heard of like the rapper like Moneybagg Yo. Probably not. He's like a mainstream like rapper, you know. But he kind of like looked like him. So I'm like, "Oh, it's Moneybagg." I'm like, "Why don't you guys bring Moneybagg over here?" You know. I'm like, you know, like having a good time with him. And then he seemed like a really like good kid. Obviously, like very caring. You know what I mean? Like chill, all that. That was the one time I met him. I can't really say much about Davion.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, I'm going to turn this off. Thank you for coming in.